So my kitten has decided that the absolute best time to start making lots of noise and being all playful in my bedroom is right when I'm trying to record. So enjoy the kitten playing in the background, because there's nothing I can do about it. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name's Allie, and you might notice something a little bit different from the last couple videos that I've made over the past few months, and it's not just the fact that I finally re-dyed my hair. It looks like total trash on this webcam because, as you all know, I only report on the finest potatoes that money can buy. So you can't really see the bright colors, but that's not actually what's different. What's different is I found there's a cat stuck on my robe. The difference being that I'm using jump cuts now, and that I found a video editing program. Please don't bite me. Please don't bite me. A video editing program on my laptop. Now, why I'm doing this is because I've been having a lot of issues recently doing videos in one straight shot. Because most of the time, I just sit down, I ramble for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I post it. That hasn't been working for me. Whether it be because I get interrupted, whether it be because I have a mischievous kitten, or I just flat out lose my train of thought. So I'm hoping that using jump cuts will kind of streamline viewing. It'll help me cut out some of the dead air. It can help me transition topics a little bit better, and it can kind of give me a moment to kind of collect myself. So if I feel myself getting off topic or just kind of rambling incoherently, I can kind of put myself back together, and it gives me a moment to pause, to stop, and to breathe. So that's why a little bit of changes, but with that out of the way, I'm going to try to use jump cuts not all the time. I'm going to try to use them as little bit as possible. But with all that out of the way, today, as the title says, we're going to be talking about Scream Curse of Carnage, issue number 1. So if you haven't read the issue yet, and you don't want spoilers, you probably don't want to watch this video yet, bookmark it, save it in a tab, add it to your watch later files, just whatever, because this is going to be a bit of a spoilers discussion. I don't want to go over the whole thing, page by page. One, because I don't actually have a physical copy yet. All I have is, I'm actually getting it right now, I have it downloaded on the Marvel Comics app, and it's not quite the same if I'm trying to go through it page by page. If I can, hold it up and show the page, it's not the same if I'm, constantly looking down at my phone, which I'm going to try to do as little as possible, because it's going to come off a little bit rude, and I don't want that. So, anyway, back on topic. Yes, Scream Curse of Carnage was fucking amazing. This was everything that I wanted and everything that I could have hoped for this debut issue for her ongoing. It starts off just like the preview pages said, where we see people fishing up a corpse out of the river, and this body's got a very weird look to it. There's like fish tentacles and fish parts sticking out of it, and the two police officers that are investigating make the remark that, this person was still alive and all the fish parts were wiggling. It's a pretty horrifying picture. And then we dive right into Andy. Now, for those of you who aren't caught up or who didn't read Scream's Absolute Carnage tie-in, Andy Benton, the former host of Mania, is Scream's new host. And I wish that cat would stop. That's very distracting. Anyway, sorry, I get distracted very, very easily, which I'm sure you can tell by most of my videos because my eyes dart all over the place. Kittens are the most distracting things. As kittens are the most distracting things on the planet. So anyway, the issue opens up with us being caught up getting caught up with Andy, who is currently homeless. She has no family. She has no friends. She basically has the Scream symbiote that she absolutely resents. She doesn't want Scream talking to her. She doesn't want Scream at all. She wants this thing off of her. And one of my friends on Twitter actually made the comment that maybe this was because Andy's kind of still reeling over losing Mania. Well, one could easily argue that Andy and the Mania symbiote didn't really have the best kind of friendship. The way symbiotes are, even if you don't necessarily want one, you still miss it when it's not there because you get used to it being around all the time. So that is probably one of the reasons why she's so cold towards Scream. Also, Andy's dealing with a major abandonment issues, loss, because her aunt is killed, her father was killed back in the Agent Venom saga, and her mother has been MIA for years. So the poor girl basically has absolutely nothing. And after going through everything with her tie-in to Absolute Carnage, there is one point that I really wanted to talk about that happens in this comic that kind of it surprised me, not necessarily with what happened, but surprised me because I didn't really have a reaction to it until today. So there gets to be a certain point where Andy feels like there's nobody in the world that cares about her, and that it wouldn't matter if she disappeared, nobody would notice, nobody would care, and then she jumps off a bridge to commit suicide. And the reason this kind of surprised me was not because of her actions, but my own reaction to this, because, Andy's been through a lot of shit, and it's not really that surprising to see that she's struggling with mental health issues after losing so many people, being terrified of symbiotes, having the nightmares about Mania, and now she's back being a symbiote host again. The poor girl's kind of, in a way, living her own personal hell. So it's not really that surprising that she's struggling with these mental health issues. But what kind of surprised me for my own reaction was it didn't really affect me until today, because I read it and, I had the normal reaction that most people would have when reading something like that. But I didn't actually really start thinking about it until today, to the point to where I tried to record this video earlier and had to stop because when I started talking about it, my voice cracked and I couldn't do it. Just because suicide is a really sensitive topic for a lot of people, including myself, because I've lost 2 different people from it. And what happens next after Andy jumps off this bridge is Scream immediately tells her, and this is one thing I forgot to mention was that up until this point, we couldn't understand Scream. Her words were garbled, and this is the first time she actually speaks in a way that we can understand her. And she tells Andy, no, we need you. And as Andy's free-falling into the water, Scream shoots off this tendril and catches her the whole time while Andy's saying, no, just let me go, which of course Scream doesn't listen. And what I really like about that scene, and it's kind of hard to say that I like anything about that scene, is that Scream saved her. When you've dealt with that kind of stuff before, seeing somebody being saved from something like that, it means a lot. And when you think about it, Scream didn't have to do that. Scream could have easily let her fall into the water and swam them to shore. She could have easily went ahead and let Andy free fall into the water, but she didn't. And I think that says a lot about Scream as a character, because she clearly cares a lot about her host. And even though, with Donna, we didn't really get to see the relationship that Scream and Donna had, because it was more or less non-existent. Scream was kind of treated, for the most part, just as a symbiotic suit. With Patricia, they spent the majority of their time together fighting Carnage and slowly working towards that one goal before Patricia's death. But I like how we get to see that underneath of it all, Scream still wants the best for her host. She doesn't like seeing Andy suffer, and it's clear by her dialogue. What's even more clear about this is there is a point in this issue where Andy walks outside into like this dark like alleyway place after like a concert and gets jumped by like 3 or 4 different guys who obviously have some really horrible intent, and Scream takes over and they basically beat the shit out of these guys while at the same time saying, this is our body, not yours. You're not allowed to touch us. You're nothing but weak, sniveling babies pretending to be men. And again, that also shows that, Scream wants to protect her host. So she helped Andy basically beat the fuck out of these horrible people who hopefully will definitely think twice before they do anything like that again. I don't think they killed those guys, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look and see. Because if they did, honestly, it's really not that much of a loss, I don't think. But to get kind of off some of the heavy stuff, now that part is over, and it feels nice to finally get all that out and say it, and I kind of feel like I can breathe again and talk about some of the more positive points of this issue. Well, those were good points to make too, but I'll do a little bit of a different subject. So the issue ends with Andy and Scream fighting against these like fish people, Cthulhu looking things, and they beat the fuck out of them. And we get to kind of see what's in the water. All the advertising campaigns have been like, oh, don't go in the water, you'll never want to go in the water again. Well, this is why. The water's got like mutant fucking fish people in it. And we don't really get to see Big Mother yet, but I think she does have some dialogue where she's kind of talking to the fish people. I don't want to have to scroll through all that, but I'm pretty sure she's got some dialogue where she's talking to the fish people. And this issue ends with Andy's mother showing back up, which I don't trust Andy's mother for a second. And neither does Scream, because when Andy embraces her, and she's so happy because she hasn't seen her mother in a long time, and finally she's not alone in the world, the entire time Scream is telling her, no, don't do it, don't leave me, no, over and over again. And while one could argue that this is because Scream also is afraid of being abandoned and is afraid of Andy pushing her away, I think most people would agree that Scream can sense something about Andy's mother that Andy can't. Whether Andy's mom is possessed by Big Mother, whether it's like a shape-shifting kind of situation, or what. But that's how the issue ends. And even though this video has had kind of a serious tone, for the most part, because this issue had some really serious themes and dealt with some really serious points in it. It was a great issue. I know I'm not really my peppy self in this video, but that's just because of the topics that were in the issue. And I'm really excited for issue number 2. Scream Curse of Carnage is totally worth buying, whether you pre-order it online like I do, whether you have a pull list, whether you can actually, buy it off the stands at like a comic shop or whatever. It's totally worth buying, and I would highly recommend it to anybody, period. Whether, like, I would really recommend it to mainly Symbiote fans, but it's not a horrible place to kind of jump in. You need a little bit of backstory, but that's it. So, yeah, Scream Curse of Carnage issue 1 was everything I could have hoped for, and it's absolutely perfect and is a great follow-up to everything else about Scream that we've ever had. So I know this video is probably going to run really, really long because of where I'm doing jump cuts. I can't quite tell my total recording time. But if you're watching this end, thank you so much for sticking with me this whole video. I know we got kind of serious, but my next video is going to be about my husband and my son's trip to GalaxyCon, which was last week. So that'll be a much more fun, lighthearted video. We won't be dealing with such serious topics, but it's something that I really look forward to talking about with you guys. Of course, the standard YouTube stuff, likes, comments, subscribe. I don't need to tell you guys how to work YouTube. In the description below, I'll have my personal Twitter, my LT Scream page, which is also on Twitter, and my Instagram if you want to follow me, interact with me. If you like this video, let me know down below, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you thought of Scream Curse of Carnage #1. Did you think these serious themes were handled well? Is there anything you would change about it? And was this issue good enough for you to buy the next one? So, thank you for watching, and I look forward to hearing your guys. Well, I guess reading. It's not really hearing. It would be reading. I look forward to reading your guys' comments. And thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll subscribe, and we'll see each other again.